Nesting crypto systems and obfuscation, you can attempt to have multiple layers of encryption and obfuscation, hidden and unhidden, to throw your adversary off. This is for the more extreme cases. When you start to stack encryption, obviously performance is affected, but this may be a secondary concern for you over security and privacy. So let's talk about some obfuscation examples here. First and foremost is the software whole disk encryption like Lux, Veracrypt, BitLocker, etc. That's kind of a foundation of encryption. Then you can build on that with a self-encrypted drive that has authentication to give you access to the drive. This is providing double encryption but with no performance hit. You could elect to encrypt the system partition with software disk encryption and then separately encrypt a number of volumes that contain data of different levels of privacy. Each of those volumes will be open or closed as necessary. The system partition encryption could be applied by one technology like Lux, and the volumes by another technology like Veracrypt. Each volume and the system partition having different passwords and different key files and perhaps two-factor authentication. This really separates out your encryption, and it will mitigate against bootloader attacks and will keep encryption keys out of memory when you're not using those volumes. You only mount those volumes when you actually need them. So you could keep your sensitive data that you maybe don't access very often, you can keep that volume closed. And then there are hidden operating systems and hidden containers and volumes that you could throw into that mix as well. And as I said, those could be with multi-factor authentication. And of course, you can encrypt file archives with tools like pzip or AES-crypt. It's often useful to use virtual machines for isolation and to be hidden. You can encrypt virtual machines using a hypervisor. You can do whole disk encryption in the virtual machine guest. You can put an encrypted container within the VM guest, and you can nest VMs within each other and encrypt those. These are all possible options depending on your situation. Then you can throw in hardware or software encrypted USB sticks and SD cards. You could put your encrypted containers on there. You can put your encrypted container on a hardware encrypted USB stick, and some USBs have self-destruction as well. So you could use one of those with its hardware encryption and then a software container encryption on that. And you could even throw in some steganography to hide the encrypted file. And you could even store your encrypted disk remotely out of the sphere of influence of your adversary. And obviously you don't store the key there. So there are many, many options to add extra layers of obfuscation to frustrate your adversary. So I hope that gave you a little bit of something to think about there if your needs are that great.